The incoming White House press secretary, incoming White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre's partner, Suzanne Malveaux, works at CNN. Brian Stetler actually brought it up and said he asked his own network how this is going to affect Suzanne's coverage and what she can and can't cover. I give him a little bit of credit because he was one of the very few that actually talked about that. But I think that there's too much of a cozy relationship with CNN right now. What are your thoughts on that?
For sure. For sure. I mean, it's like church and state stuff, right? It's really kind of uncomfortable. I think it makes it very, very hard for Suzanne and anybody working around her to be not biased, right? I mean, her spouse or significant other is carrying the water of the administration, and her job is to push this narrative. And Suzanne, of course, works for an organization that is simultaneously also trying to push a narrative. So I think there's a lot of conflicts of interest. CNN would be wise to say, okay, we got a Chinese wall here, and you know what? You're gonna be a lifestyle reporter for a little bit. I mean, maybe that's what they need to do. I always said during the Chris Cuomo saga, why don't they just hand over the first 15 minutes of the show to Erin Burnett? Let her do it, and then Chris can come in afterwards when they've gotten through all the Cuomo family drama. There's a lack of appropriateness there.
Newsmax's Sean Spicer and fired Fox Business personality Trish Regan aren't happy with new White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. They're arguing that Jean-Pierre's relationship with CNN correspondent Suzanne Malveaux is a conflict of interest awash in liberal bias. But Spicer hasn't always been so concerned about how personal relationships affect political coverage. Spicer and Regan didn't say a word when then CNN correspondent Campbell Brown reported on the 2012 Mitt Romney campaign, despite being married to Romney senior advisor Dan Senor. And the Trump administration was a well-acknowledged swamp of media-government relationships. Spicer has had an axe to grind with CNN since early in the Trump administration, when the network called out Spicer's attempts to sell Trump's lies to the White House press corps and the country. So it's no surprise Spicer's upset. And Jean-Pierre, a Columbia-educated, openly gay black woman, has been a popular target for the far right for years. But not everyone on this panel was willing to humor Spicer's fixation on Jean-Pierre and her personal life. Newsmax contributor Mark Halperin pushed back on Spicer's argument that Jean-Pierre's relationship means all of CNN is now in the pocket of the Biden administration. Here's what Halperin said.
Mark, it's not just that relationship, but how difficult does it make it in the briefing room when you're looking down and saying, my spouse works for the network that I'm about to take a question from?
Look, it's tough because I don't think any family member, whether it's a significant other, a spouse, a parent, a child, I don't think it's fair to punish them and have their career harmed. I think CNN should, as Trish suggested, move her to a beat as far away as possible from this. But I think as long as it's disclosed, as long as there's scrutiny of the way CNN covers the White House, the way the White House treats CNN, I think that's the best you can do in this case, because again, it's just not fair to penalize someone's career because who they happen to be in love with.
I agree with that, but my bigger point is I think it taints CNN as a whole. Anyway.
And in this case, Halperin's right. This isn't the first time a news network has navigated a sensitive relationship between reporters and the government officials they cover. Networks have clear processes for reassigning reporters who are romantically connected to subjects. At least most do. Fox News and Newsmax are notable exceptions. Take Fox News' Maria Bartiromo, who covers Wall Street, something her husband, Wisdom Tree Investment CEO Jonathan Steinberg, would know a lot about. And Fox News personality Kimberly Guilfoyle moved directly from Fox News into a cushy job on the Trump campaign she covered, before announcing that she was dating the former president's son.
The best is yet to come!
Fox News never took action on these conflicts of interest, and Spicer sure isn't going to bring them up himself. That's part of the grift, and he's hoping you won't notice. Spicer and Republicans aren't targeting Karine Jean-Pierre because they really believe she's biased. They're attacking her because she represents something terrifying to the right. A successful, progressive communicator who defies the ignorant stereotypes Republicans have attached to women, people of color, and the LGBTQ. Jean-Pierre represents something deeply threatening to conservatives: capability and competence. And in a White House that has often felt its communications drifting, not just with the press, but with the American people, Jean-Pierre represents a real opportunity for the Biden administration to reset. Spicer and crew really don't want that to happen. Spicer and Regan can pretend to ignore a right-wing media landscape that's offered fat contributor contracts to Trump family members, including Lara Trump, the wife of former President Trump's son Eric, in exchange for continued access to Trump and his gang of far-right goons. But we know Spicer isn't interested in strengthening the press against claims of bias or conflicts of interest. He's simply out to delegitimize Jean-Pierre before she even starts the job. Half a decade after his disastrous 7-month tenure as White House press secretary, it appears Sean Spicer is still struggling to get his story straight.